So in the meantime, as I'm living in my car, I got a job in the automotive business. I started at this small town in Ohio, sweeping floors in an automotive shop. And I got the privilege, I say privilege, to wash a car when the shop was cleaned up, you know. So I literally started from the bottom. And, you know, that's, and I didn't have money. So like, but I could, you know, get some milk, and I think milk back then I could find it for like 99 cents. A sack of potatoes was super ass fucking cheap. You know, I just needed someone to give me an opportunity. And the gentleman did. He gave me an opportunity at that location. I actually stayed there for about 10 years. And it wasn't until at the age of 30 when I decided I want something more. This is the farthest I can go with this company. And I have the same mentality today. And you know this, it's like, okay, I'm happy, but I'm not fucking satisfied.
I would like to introduce you to the man behind this entire brand, WOLFpak. His name is Michael Henderson. Michael created this brand from a vision after overcoming cancer. It was a extremely emotional story, and he told the entire story. He even shared intimate details of how he grew up. He had nothing. He made something of himself. His passion and his drive and his desire to create something that's even bigger than himself is something that, even though it's unexplainable, he explains everything that went into it for him. You're gonna learn all of that. You're gonna learn everything there is to know about the brand WOLFpak. So stick around, because this is Michael Henderson, and this is how Michael is making his mark. Michael Henderson, you work in the shadows.
The shadows.
You've been called a wizard because, you know, we haven't had a chance to really peel back the curtain and get to know a little bit more about you, your world. And so this is the opportunity for everyone to really get to know you, get to know WOLFpak. So before we get into that, I just want to say, you know, WOLFpak has been recognized nationally and internationally as one of the fastest growing brands, okay? That's super impressive. And before we dive into the background of all of that, why do you think, after 4 years, just 4 years of developing this company, what separates you from all the other brands?
You know, it's a great question. You know, I process it every day. I think the separation really comes from our fans.
Yeah.
They really divide us to the brand that we achieved to be, and send us direction, you know, send us the motivation, send us the messages, you know, repping the bag. And it's really a momentum piece that's just taken off. And it wasn't easy. I think people see the moment today and things are moving very fast. But in the beginning days, it was very slow.
One thing about you is you are very team oriented. You give other people a lot of credit, okay? But I want to talk a little bit more about you. Yeah. So what about you as the founder of this brand, starting out of your garage, which we're going to talk about, just 4 years ago? What about you? What separates you from other brand founders?
Well, I can speak to myself. You know, I'm always been kind of coined like that lone wolf. And it's because I just, I kind of like vision my direction and block everything out. And I only see the outcome. Yeah. And it's just the days in front of me, I just start to knock them out. Any distractions, and it's where I just kind of like go closed-minded. I just block everything out and just focus on the goal in mind.
Yeah, your work ethic is second to none. I think I've had the opportunity to see you work, and you're here first one in the morning, last one to leave. You know, I mean, I think that's definitely something that separates you. And I want to talk about what has created that beast. Like what is it that has gone into that? So let's like kind of rewind a little bit. And I want to take you to the moment that you woke up and you were like, I'm going to start this brand. Tell me about that moment, and then tell me about the series of events that led to that moment.
Well, I think waking up to have that vision to start a brand was a disruption that played a role in my life. As you know, and I'll share with others, I was tapped with stage 3 cancer. 2019, woke up with, a phone call that day from the doctor that, I had stage 3 cancer. So it was really a processing moment that week. I went through all the hardships, the denial, the anger, the sadness, and finally you find acceptance. And there's many stories that lead up to that point, but, to answer your question, I processed the question in my head: did I do everything in life, I wanted to do? Did I make my mark, in a sense? And I'm going through my treatment with this question in my thoughts, and I wasn't happy with the answer. I mean, I had no answer. I didn't leave a mark. I was very successful in the automotive business. I was 26 years in automotive business, very successful.
We're going to talk about that too.
Right. And that question just keeps hitting my thoughts every day. And then I was processing the only thing that I could do to create this fucking fire is to start a brand, something bigger than me. And that can outlive me, and it started to roll into, that's how I can make my mark. That's how I can leave my mark, is create a brand based on my story and, hand it over to my girls and let the legacy continue.
Yeah. You started your brand. You're extremely close with your family. Tell me about what went into what you decided to call your brand.
Yeah, so a lot of people know the brand name WOLFpak.
Yes.
It's, the name by itself is badass, right?
Yeah.
So who doesn't want a WOLFpak?
Yes.
But, and that's on the surface, that's what a lot of people see. And a lot of people see that the fact that we do tactical bags, we do them in a style that's just fun and exciting. Yeah, but the brand name is my story.
Yep.
Going through cancer, I decided to kind of stay behind the curtains. Yeah. Not tell anyone. Continue to go to work every day. Yeah. I would get up in the morning. I would go to treatment. Treatment was about 5 or 6 hours of chemo, 5 days a week for 3 months. After chemo was done that day, I would go to work and drive in traffic, like LA traffic, for an hour, hour and a half. Get somewhere so someone could just see my face. I was over a territory, so I didn't have a station position. Right. So the person in front of me would just think I came from the next location, right?
So this was a coping mechanism for you? Like, it was a way for you to maintain normalcy? There you go. That's stored.
And I told myself that many times. I said, I need to maintain a normalcy lifestyle. And to compartmentalize what was going on, in a sense, kind of just put it to the side. Yeah. It's happening, but I'm not gonna make it my day.
Right.
So I got up every morning. I did 30 minutes of workout when I had the most energy. I would drive to the hospital for that treatment. Then I would drive to work, leave after someone just seen my face, 30 minutes out there in the community, come back home. It would be 7 o'clock when I got home. Find my way on the couch, literally the first room in the house. And I would just sit my ass on the couch and I would look like a zombie.
I have a question. You're the leader of your family. Everyone leans on you. Everyone trusts you. Was there a moment during that time that you felt like, your family was depending on you and you had to stay strong for them?
I think they know my mentality. They know my work ethic. They knew this without question. When I said I'm still going to work, that was the default answer. And that's going back to the brand name. I always had this wolf mentality, like put whatever you want in front of me and we'll peel back the layers in this conversation. I'll knock it out. I'll take care of it. Nothing's going to stop me. I'll overcome any obstacle. And that's that wolf mentality, I was hit with the cancer along my journey of the treatment. I also got a blood clot in my jugular.
A blood clot in your jugular?
Yeah, it's still there today.
Really?
So it was toward the last week of the cycle. So you actually got to get a port installed into your chest.
Oh my
and that's where they
gosh.
put the chemo in.
Yeah.
And the port goes into your jugular, which feeds your body the chemo.
Yeah.
So I woke up the last week, a big infection in my neck, could barely turn my head.
Yeah.
I was very, my vertigo was off for a few days. It's just very dizzy. And they took me up to a scan. They said, Michael, you have a blood clot in your jugular. And I'm like,
gosh.
okay, this is great. So, and they didn't want to move it. They didn't want to dislodge it. They felt like it would cause more damage than just let it sit. So the answer was, the doctor said, it's just like water. The blood will find a new path to get where it needs to go.
Right.
And so the decision was they wanted to remove the port out of my chest and put it on the other side.
Oh my gosh.
For one more week of chemo.
Yeah.
And that was at the moment, like, I knew my body. I know the doctors are running just the course of the numbers and the data and the calculation, but I knew my body was just fucking done. So I took it upon myself. I said, yeah, we're going to take this port out, but I'm done in treatment. I'm just done. And,
did you feel like you were giving up?
Did I feel like I was giving up? Hell no. I felt cured.
You felt better.
I felt cured.
And so when you said
I felt like that the chemo was doing more damage
Got it.
than good.
Got it.
And I still have side effects today.
Right.
So, that's where I kind of like hone in on that wolf name, right?
You just like took it into your own hands and you're like, I'm a wolf.
A badass wolf. So, and then the pack.
Yeah.
So when I got the news, I only told my family.
Right.
My wife, my daughters. My son was born at the time. He is 1. I didn't want to tell anyone at work.
Right.
I didn't want to have that woe is me.
Yeah.
Or look at him. The first thought in everyone's head as soon as you walk through the door is, oh, he's got cancer.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to be looked at.
Right.
I was a guy that was a stand-up guy, very professional.
Yeah.
I had my shit together. Like I was the guy. And I didn't want anyone to look at me any different. So, everyone can relate to a pack, a circle of friends, their coworkers, their workout buddies. That's their tight little niche.
Yep.
And I didn't know my brand name in the beginning. It all kind of just pieces together.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes we talk about this a lot at work. It's just like some things just fall into place.
Yeah.
And we look back and even with the team and I talk to you, it's just like, just like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Like, how does this fucking happen?
It just everything aligns at this, just the right time.
And I always felt like there's a bigger purpose in my life. Back when I was as a child living in the East Coast, and I would like watch bodybuilding and Muscle Beach, and California was always like drawn to me.
Yeah.
I always thought there was something big in California. I didn't know what that big was.
Really?
And so I always had this inner voice talking to me all the time. So, and going back to the name. So, as I'm going through my treatment, this is, of course, I'm saying this conversation in 5 minutes, but it was a duration of 12 months.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So, I'm like, that's the name right there.
Yeah.
I wanted to start a brand. I needed a name. I was like, what better name than something that I can relate to?
Yeah.
And WOLFpak was coming to me every day, and I could not let it go. And I said, that's the name right there, WOLFpak.
That is pretty badass.
Next day, I went out and bought the domain.
That's awesome. And it was available.
Again, how do fucking things just line up, right?
That is.
So I'm like, okay, I want to spell it PAK on purpose.
Yeah.
I want it to be different. Yes. And that's how you stand out, is you have to be different.
Yes.
And I wanted it to be lowercase. If you notice, that's our logo, capital Wolf, lowercase pack. I wanted it to look different, stand out.
Yeah.
I really lowercase the pack too, to really highlight the fact that there's no C in the word pack. And that was a quick way to look at it. The next morning, I don't know anything about a fucking domain. I get up and I'm like, okay, let me see about like finding this website. Found a third party that had it for sale. Yeah. Could you imagine that?
No.
And back then, this is 2020.
Yeah.
A 7-character.com domain.
That's crazy. Sale. That is crazy.
I mean, normally it was like, I was thinking, is it WOLFpak official backpacks? Is it WOLFpak backpacks.net?
Yeah.
No, the fucking WOLFpak.com is available. And I think I bought it for like $5,000 or $10,000 back then. I can't remember.
Wow.
And I didn't even know what the product was that I was going to sell. I just
Wow.
knew
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You thought of your brand name before you
the product.
decided that you were going to sell tactical bags?
Yes.
What? That's crazy.
And I grabbed that name, you know.
Okay. So this is okay. Now let's talk about, we're going to jump around just a little bit here because I want to know, you figured out how to buy a domain name, but you had to all by yourself figure out how to do a lot of things because starting a brand was totally new to you. Put me through that process. Like what, because a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is to actually start a brand, firsthand from scratch. So tell me about the next steps.
The best way I can explain to it, and I talked to you about it, is it's like, when you're competing, you want to get on stage, you typically get a coach, right? Yeah. They're going to give you the training program. They're going to give you the diet. Yeah. You're just going to be the doer.
But you
They're
didn't
going
have
to
that.
be the thinker, Yeah. There's no one that is going to open up their doors and say, hey, this is how you start a brand.
Right.
No, and we use the term FITFO.
FITFO.
Do you know what FITFO is?
Figure it the F out.
Figure it the fuck out. And that was our number one rule.
Yes.
When we started to learn.
Yeah.
Learn before you do how to start this brand.
So what all did you learn?
Let me go back. It's just you're talking to a guy that wasn't on social media back before this brand. And we're heavily on social media today.
So you had to learn social media.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what posting a fucking picture was. And that wasn't in my world.
Wow.
And let me just tell you, you're speaking to you. I'm a businessman. I'm in automotive business.
Right.
I'm not working on cars. I'm over a group of, collision centers that work on cars.
Which some people might think that that's a random correlation, but we're going to talk about that because I don't think it is, but continue.
Yeah. So, and I was always business driven.
Right.
And I wanted to, I just always read books on people, read books on businesses, read books on, self-development. And that's where I spent my time.
Right.
I didn't consume the stuff that I felt like wasn't adding value.
Yeah.
So I never did anything on social media. So there again, I'm starting from scratch. I have to now learn Instagram. I have to now learn Facebook. I have to, and put all this stuff together. I think I opened up a Facebook account and I got fucking blocked. I can't use my name anymore because I didn't know you had to have a personal account to get a business account.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm trying to build out a Facebook account under the WOLFpak name.
Right, right.
And then I got to prove the identity. And it's just now I'm blocked forever.
I believe that everybody has a different set of intelligences. There's, some people I have a twin sister and she's a lawyer. She can memorize things by reading them one time. I'm kind of spacey, creative and everything like that. But for you, I think that a lot of your success in figuring out what to do, you've had really good discernment. You've been able to problem solve. You've been able to flush out things that won't serve your purpose. Do you feel that there's a unique type of intelligence that you have that has allowed you this unique discernment, or what do you think?
I think it comes from my childhood. It's just, and we can get into it, but when you're kind of stripped away from everything, you learn to just, we're
going to talk about that. Yeah.
You learn that it's all on you and you just got to figure it out,
wow.
And get through things.
Okay. Let's actually segue into that because first I'll say, you started your brand name, WOLFpak. You have a lone wolf mentality. You keep your family close. Your whole family, works closely with you. You're family oriented, which, leads me to wonder, what was your family life like when you were younger?
It was, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? You're a child.
Yeah.
And, in the beginning days, I have thoughts. I was with my mom, living in trailer courts. I remember going to the store, I'm 5, 6, years of age. I can remember food stamps was how we got our food. I didn't know what food stamps were.
You didn't understand you were young.
I just thought that's how we bought food.
Right,
right. I don't even think I registered that my mom didn't have an income.
Did you go hungry at all?
I don't want to say hungry, but you know,
You were
just,
like,
I think
yeah.
you're limited. But you know, then I learned that why she wasn't going to work every day is she did have a source of income. She was into drugs and she was the reseller. So, you know, and again, as a kid, like you don't know what you don't know. I have thoughts and I have memories of just walking into rooms that were just aluminum foil, lights on the ceiling, and just pot plants everywhere, you know, as a kid.
Did you understand that at the time, or you just retroactively understanding it?
No,
at the
like
time,
I know
did
it's
it,
wrong today, but when you're 5,
you
6, 7, you think it's just
that's
normal,
what my
you know?
mom does.
Yeah.
What point in your life did you realize, or did it process with you, that your mom was into something that was probably not good?
As you start to age, right? And then I think and backing up a little bit,
Yeah.
I didn't have a father figure in my life. You know, I don't know who he is today. You know, I could care less, honestly. I think, you know, my path is charted and I'm on to my journey. But, you know, as I aged, other things started happening, you know.
Right.
I literally never completed the same school 2 years in a row. I was in a different school every year.
Your mom was taking you around to
Yeah.
different places?
It was on to the next trailer, on to the next apartment, on to the next roommate. And I'm getting pulled in all these different directions, you know? So when that happens, you got to find a new set of friends every year.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did
Right.
you have any friends that you maintained?
No, you start
connection?
to become introvert
Interesting. Okay.
because you know what's coming, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's a struggle as a child to, like, you know, build a relationship.
Yeah.
And then when you're going to the next school the next year in a different district,
Right.
it's just like you just start to turn into. That's where I probably got the lone wolf. You know, I just closed myself off to the world. But it wasn't until like later, as I'm entering, you know, my teenage years, my mom was actually incarcerated many times.
Oh, man.
And I'm bouncing around from my grandma's house to my aunts. I had 3 aunts. So I literally lived with 3 different aunts and my grandma. And I was bouncing around from, you know, all 4 of those segments.
Really fast, did you have a good relationship with any of them?
Yeah, they're all very loving, all very, they understood. They knew the situation. They're adults. I'm a child. You know, of course, they're going to give me the, you know, the red carpet welcome and take care of me.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was fun at the time. I was just like, cool, I get to live with my aunt. Cool, I get to live with my you know, uncle. And, you know, and I think a lot of times it was hidden from me what was going to happen.
Right.
But I'm just like, okay, why am I going to school here at my aunt's house? You know.
Right.
But then as I aged, I started to learn, oh, she's incarcerated. That's why I can't see her. You know, because I always, can I go back to mom's? You know. But no, so I bounced around from time to time, and then every once in a while she would get out, and then she would ask for me back, and I would go live with her.
I just have a quick question. Did you have like a mentor during that time? Some, like, an adult figure that you felt like you connected with, like a teacher or anyone?
No, again,
you were just a lone wolf that whole time.
It was the next trailer, the next apartment, the next door, the school, the next boyfriend of hers.
Yeah.
You know, and then you start to have a relationship with some of these people and her life, but then it's the, you know, next guy or something like that, right?
Yeah. So you just at such a young age, you kind of like created this shell, and you learned to kind of figure things out. You learned to kind of not rely on people.
Yeah.
So
let me tell you some stories why I am who I am today. So as a teenager, you start getting stuff and accumulating stuff. I would, at the time when I lived with her, and, you know, and again, every year is a different year. I would wake up in my what do we have back then? Nintendo. My Nintendo would be gone.
Your Nintendo was gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where's my Nintendo? And then, you know, it was at the pawn shop. And I get a new bike, and I go outside and the bike's gone. Where's the bike? It got stolen last night. Even to this day, I don't know if it got stolen or if it got, like, taken to the pawn shop. But you start to realize not to get attached to things. You know, you don't, and you cut off your emotions, you know, and maybe that's why I'm such a hard ass today. Maybe that's why I got a hard shell, because, growing up in the childhood path that I did, like, you start to just develop that shell.
Right.
I can remember another moment, me and my buddies at the apartment complex, we see all these SWAT vehicles coming in. We're like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, no.
And they're going to my house.
Oh, no.
So it was strange. Like, they bust in the door. They're raid the whole house. We're watching from afar.
Okay.
When everyone's done, like, me and my buddy go into the house, the door's busted open, and it's just like the whole apartment's like disrupted, tore up, drawers all open, and because they're looking for drugs.
Oh, gosh. And
then next thing you know, she doesn't come home for days. I'm sleeping in the house, apartment in that one. And I can remember this too. I can't recall the age. 12 years old, upstairs by myself in bed, because mom's not home. I hear someone downstairs. I think it's mom. I go walking down the stairs. I just hear a bunch of rattling in the kitchen. It's not mom. It's someone breaking in.
Oh, no.
And I'm yelling,
yeah,
get out of the house.
Right.
And get out of the house. Like, and you just hear them scrambling. And that next morning I just called my aunt. I was like, hey, you got to come get me,
You just didn't feel safe.
Well, fuck, someone's in my apartment.
Right, you're not feeling safe.
I'm like 12 years old,
Right. And did your friends know that this was going on? Was it?
Yeah, I think, people talk amongst themselves, right? They know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the interesting thing with you is that, this is a unique situation, but at the same time, there are people that have been through similar situations. And I feel like people take different paths, right? I think that there's one path people take where, you've heard people, they go into like victimhood, right? And they maybe wind up on the streets or whatever. But then the other path is the path that you took, which you learned how to fend for yourself. You developed a work ethic that was insane. And you figured out how to, get through life and become really successful. But before you started WOLFpak, you did become really successful in the automotive world, but it didn't start where it finished. Where did that path start?
Yeah, and let me kind of finish out of the school, bouncing from school year to school year. And I took a lot of years I did like at home school because I just had to transfer. So I didn't leave school I graduated,
right.
But I didn't leave school with the best education.
Right.
I just got by.
Right.
And, I got out of school, was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. A couple of my friends, we decided we wanted to join the Navy.
Okay.
So we had this great plan. Like, there's 12 of us.
Okay.
We're talking to the recruiter. He's going to get us all stationed at the same place for boot camp. This is going to be fucking great. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a blast. So we all sign up. There's like 12 of us. Three, 4 of us go to Orlando. The other 3 go to San Diego here. Another 3 or 4 go to the Great Lakes. I ended up going to the Great Lakes during the months of January, February, March, when it's like so fucking cold. Yes. When we get there, I'm like, okay, it's cool. It's cool. It's me and these 2 other guys. We're good. Nope, we're not good. They split us up again. I didn't see anyone. So that whole plan went to shambles.
Did you make new friends?
Well, yeah, like you're in your little boot camp and you get through it. But so I did 2 years in the Navy. Okay. I was stationed in New Jersey, and I felt like the Navy was what I needed. And to get back on your question, no, the environment of my childhood didn't convert me to those behaviors. I never wanted anything to do with that stuff. I avoided it. I knew it was in my life. I didn't want it to consume me or be me. Yeah. So I blocked it out. But the Navy really provided me, structure and foundation.
Okay.
And gave me started to give me that direction.
Got
on
it.
How to exist as a better person.
Okay.
So I would say that's the turning point right there.
Right.
I needed that. it was a 2-year program. I got out a bit early and, jumped into the automotive business.
Before we talk about that, I just want to know, when you were in the Navy, what was your experience like the first time that you had that like male figure energy discipline in your life? Like, tell me about that.
I was ready for it,
You weren't ready for it.
No, I was ready.
You were ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanted it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you want to see structure. You want to see discipline. You want to see like people want that stuff. A lot of people thrive on that.
Yeah.
So it was needed. Went through it, did it.
You responded well to it.
Yeah. But I knew I didn't want this to be my life.
Right.
And I really wanted to get into business.
Yeah.
So, I got out, I'm trying to find a job. I go to my aunt's house to land my feet somewhere. And, I'm there for a couple weeks. I don't know what happened. But she kicked me out. And I had to live in my car for about 3 months.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So in the meantime, as I'm living in my car, I got a job in the automotive business. I started at this small town in Ohio, sweeping floors in an automotive shop. And I got the privilege, I say privilege, to wash a car when the shop was cleaned up, So I literally started from the bottom.
So you're living out of your car and you're sweeping the floors, and when you're lucky, you're washing cars.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for food, and people would know me for this moment.
Okay.
Every morning I would go to the store, 7-Eleven, whatever the store was, gas station. I would buy a gallon of milk. And I would buy a sack of potatoes. And
potatoes and milk.
Yeah. The milk I had to drink by the end of the day. I would keep it in my trunk.
Okay.
And the sack of potatoes will last me for a day or two, right?
Okay.
And that's how I got my carbs. That's how I got my protein. I was bit by the iron bug at that time and looking up, bodybuilding magazines.
Okay.
I knew I needed protein.
And how old were you during this?
You're like 19 at the time.
19. Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm out of the Navy. Now I got a job.
Okay.
I'm into bodybuilding.
Okay.
And, that's, and I didn't have money. So but I could, get some milk, and I think milk back then I could find it for like 99 cents. A sack of potatoes was super ass fucking cheap. And
so you get into bodybuilding and you go on a milk and potato bodybuilding diet.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue.
So, and I stored it in my trunk.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I had to throw my milk out because it was just warm.
Right.
And so, and then at times when I'm working in this automotive location, when I would sleep in the office if the owner wasn't there.
Really?
Yeah.
It was more comfortable than your car.
It was a couch, but I felt safe, because when you're in a car, you got to find a location to go to and sleep.
So in your mind, you were thinking, okay, I want to work my way up. You were trying. I know how your mind works. You're trying to think of a plan. Okay. Tell me, at what point did you think of that plan, and what was your process there?
I think I was looking for a home.
You were looking for a home.
Yeah. And I knew wherever I landed, I would give it my all. I just needed someone to give me an opportunity. And the gentleman did. He gave me an opportunity at that location. I actually stayed there for about 10 years. And I ended up at that location, overseeing, we built one collision center into 3. Wow. And I was over the 3 collision centers.
Wow.
And it wasn't until at the age of 30 when I decided I want something more. This is the farthest I can go with this company. And I have the same mentality today. And this, it's like, okay, I'm happy, but I'm not fucking satisfied.
Right.
I was happy there, but I'm not satisfied. I petered out. This is as far as I can go. And, another backstory, my wife is a little pusher on my side. She found an outfit in North Carolina that had like 6 stores at the time. They were growing.
Yeah.
I went down there and interviewed, and we made a new path, a new journey to go down to North Carolina.
Yeah.
I continue on my automotive career down there as well.
So what would you say stands out the most in your, what did you specialize in the automotive world?
I was a numbers guy.
A numbers guy.
And that helps me today. And going back to, it's just strange how everything happens for a reason. I've taken my automotive experience and just wrapped it around this brand. And I understand a business. I know how to run a business. It doesn't matter what we're selling,
Right.
what our surface is. I get it. It's the same kind of calculation. And I apply that to this brand today, which is a part of the success. But, I was kind of like coined the charts and graphs.
Yeah.
That was like my nickname.
Yeah.
Everyone knew me as he's the numbers guy. He knows what every store is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something else about you with this brand, and that is how detail oriented you are.
Yeah.
Okay. Where does that come from?
I would say it's an automotive business. So at the end of the repair process, right? People got to pick up their car.
Yeah.
They're looking at the car, with a deeper set of eyes than when they first bought the car.
Right.
So details, quality, little imperfections, all the little things. It just, it's ingrained into me to look for those things, find flaws, find indifferences, find something that needs to be improved. And I was like the final guy that would sign off on the repair, hey, this car's ready.
Yeah.
So again, it just starts to become you.
Yeah.
And that's how you just handle everything,
Do you think you're better at finding flaws than most people?
Well, I look at it like this. When the football team wins on Sunday,
Yeah.
on Monday, they're talking about all the things they did wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's okay
Yeah.
because they need to do that to win again this Sunday. Okay. And I carry the same mentality here. Like, yes, we'll high five on our wins,
Yeah.
but we're always going to be focused on the things we need to improve.
Yeah.
And that becomes our day,
Yeah.
And that's how we continue to win our Sunday game
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your family, because you're really close with your family. You work with your family. And that is, in contrast to your childhood, seems to be the opposite of, maybe what you really were desiring, right? Is to have this like close, tight-knit family. What is that like? Like, how is it to work every single day with your family?
So I'm blessed
Yes.
to have them a part of this brand, have them to support me. And it takes, and I say that again, it takes a strong support team to help you create this vision
Yeah.
that's in your mind that no one else can see, and you gotta win them over too. Right.
Right.
But, eventually this guy's serious. He's for real,
Yeah.
But and it's one of the things that there's many things that are part of our success, but that's one of the things I want to highlight is, we have a large group of family members here at WOLFpak, and they just fucking get it. They just know they're all in, they all get it.
Yeah.
And it's just like adding this additional horsepower to your team,
Yeah.
and it becomes an unstoppable force in a sense.
Yeah. Take me to that moment 4 years ago when you gathered your whole family on the couch and you sat down. I want to be in that moment.
Yeah. So I was, processing about the brand. And before I brought it to anyone's attention, I'm thinking about this for like 6-8 months.
So you thought about it for 6 or 8 months before you even talked to your family
Yes.
about it.
Yeah. So I get home, I'm like, okay, today's the day. So I got home. I said, everyone, can I have you in the living room? I want to, tell you something I have on my mind. I said, I can't let this go. It just keeps entering into my thoughts. I want to start a brand, and I don't know what we're going to have, but I have a name. And I talked to him about the WOLFpak.
Yeah.
And we, it was great. Like we talked for hours. I think we're all up until 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
I'm so fucking stoked.
Yeah.
I'm up until even later. I'm
Yeah.
writing down notes.
Yeah.
Wendy, I would go to bed every day, and I'm on the couch, by the way. I'm still like recovering. And
Yeah.
I just felt like that's where I just wanted to sleep, to just be at peace. I would watch YouTube videos and just write notes until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning,
This was a passion project.
to just like, how do I break out of this? I was very complacent in life, and that's a it's a bad place to be.
Yeah.
You know, I was very successful,
Yeah.
but very complacent.
Totally.
And I got that fire that year that I needed to wake the fuck up. I needed to do something different. I didn't know what that different was, but something's calling for me to do something.
Oh, man.
So I would just watch these videos, how to start brands, how to create a business, you know, and write down my notes. You know, that evening I continued to do the same thing. I'm writing down my notes.
Did you let anyone see your notes?
No. I mean, they
were just your notes.
They're my notes.
Got it.
And the next day, you know, it's still in the energy, you know, but it starts to slowly dissolve, you know, and because again, it's in my head, it's my vision, and then you got to win them over,
right?
So I had some challenges I had to overcome. It's a crazy
idea.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you followed through, continue.
So I had some challenges to overcome. You know, I had to learn about social. Had to figure out who my model was. I asked my daughter, Emma, if she could who
is a professional model,
if she could help me out with a post. But when we actually got the brand going. And, you know, I had to struggle with her to get her in front of the camera. I had to go to her mom and force her mom to force her hand to
why?
Help dad take this picture. And there again, because you haven't won them over yet.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's just some crazy fucking thought dad has. And, you know, tell me why we need to do this.
Yeah.
You know, and then struggle with my youngest daughter. She's very artsy.
Yeah.
And she likes drawing.
Yeah.
And I was like, baby girl, I need a logo. And I have this vision of this wolf's head. Can you draw this for me? She goes, yeah, Dad, but I'm in school right now. Like, can I do it later? Yeah, sure. Next day, baby girl, how about that logo? Did you get that done? Dad, I have schoolwork again. I can't. Okay. Third time I asked, same answer, right? So I'm like, okay, fuck this. Like, it's Saturday. She can't say she has school. It's Saturday morning, baby girl, you got that logo? And she goes, fine, I'll do it right now. She grabs the tablet. She goes into her bedroom. I'm over her shoulder, as I do very well.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm watching her. And so I said, here's the picture. Here's the wolf. Can you just outline the wolf for me? Don't draw an actual wolf, just an outline.
Yeah.
So she did it. And I was like, okay, don't put the neck on there. Leave it open.
Okay.
And it was totally upright at the time. I was like, okay, can you quarter turn to the right? Can you turn the wolf head a little bit? And I was like, that's it. Stop right there.
Okay.
And I said, that's the logo. And it literally took her a minute.
That's crazy.
She was 14 at the time.
Wow.
After about 2 weeks, we added the circle around the wolf head. And I love it because it's so simple.
It's so simple.
It's so clean.
Yep.
And it resembles the wolf in the moon in a sense, but also got inspired because I'm in the automotive business. Most logos are circles, ovals. Look at cars.
Yeah.
They're very simple.
They catch your eye.
And I knew I needed something simple.
Yep.
Not busy, simple that would stand out. So yeah, she struggled in the beginning to, knock out the logo, but, and we actually got that patent approved, registered this year. So, you know, she's super excited
because she's getting a degree in art.
Yeah.
So that's a claim to fame for her.
Yeah. And now she's got a registered logo that she developed.
That's so special. You have your daughter who's the artist. You have your daughter who's the model. Your wife does your graphic design. Right.
I got a fun story on that one too. So, you know, stay-at-home mom. We have a young son. He's, you know, just one at the time. Two at the time, probably at that age. And, you know, I'm like, babe, I need this logo to put on Instagram and let's do a motivational post or something because we didn't have product. So she goes, okay, I figured this program is called Adobe Illustrator. I guess it's the thing that we need to use is what she said. I was like, okay, great. I'm going off to work. You figure that out. Come back next day, similar story to my daughter.
Right.
How's that coming along? And she goes, it's coming along. I'm struggling. Okay, next day, come back. How's my post coming? How's it? This is a really challenging program. It's going to take me some time. Third day, I'm like, where were we at? And she goes, I'm struggling.
Right.
And I came at her probably looking back too hard, but I came at her and I said, like,
because this sounds like a calm conversation.
it was not calm at the time. I said, listen, I'm going to work. You fucking get me something to post.
You were serious.
I was fucking serious. And she tells this story probably 6 months later.
Right.
She goes, I knew at your level of execution, I had to deliver.
Wow.
She goes, I studied YouTube. I Googled my ass off for hours and hours all day long.
Oh my gosh.
To come out with what I needed. And she cried for a whole week. But today.
God. Wow.
But today,
Yeah.
she's a fucking master.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry.
No. And so this is, you know.
That's intense.
Yeah. This is
So now your whole family is invested. Yeah. Everyone has a piece of the pie at this point. You have gotten them all completely hooked.
Yeah, but this is the level of intensity that's at the brand, right?
Yes.
And you've found a share piece of your part. You know, we push ourselves out of our comfort zones as a brand. You know, and I use the gym as an analogy. Like when you go to the gym, you just don't work out and think your body's going to change.
Right.
You have to make it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You have to do that force rep. You have to do that, the extra weight. You got to do that when that voice is in your head, it says give up, and the other voice is in your head fighting you. It says no fucking do it. You got to do it. And you got to leave exhausted. And that's how I explain the brand to everyone is the brand is just like a workout.
Yeah.
Like if we're leaving every day and we're fucking having a great day and it's happy, we didn't push ourselves.
Right.
You know, and yeah, we're going to have hard conversations here. We're going to have disrupting moments. You know, it all comes with love.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to push this brand, and that's what makes it grow, you know. And, you know, and even today, like looking back to all those stories I just mentioned, that's what made us who we are today. Yeah. And we all get it, and especially the family members.
Yeah.
We can have the raw conversation with the family members.
Right.
We can just get right to the point.
Yeah.
Baby girl, I fucking need this done today.
Yeah.
And she can be mad at me.
Yeah.
But I know she's not going nowhere.
Right.
And I know she's all in.
Yeah.
And I know this is what is the additional horsepower that this brand has that others don't.
You know what is so interesting?
What's that?
There's so many layers to this, but you know, early on you had to fend for yourself. Okay. You desired to have like a close, tight-knit family, which you created. You brought them all into your brand. Your name of your brand, WOLFpak. You know, you have a close WOLFpak that you're operating with. But the interesting thing is that there's like a dichotomy here. I mean, your brand is based off of the foundation of being, you know, just in a tight pack, but you've created something that quite literally brings entire communities together. Isn't that interesting? Is that something you thought of?
It's really just surreal on like what we created, what we developed, and where we're at. And I say it all the time. It's just like we're in this box of four walls, and you know, we don't think we're making an impact, and we see the same people every day. And you know, to us, we're just doing something that we're very passionate about.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like work. And it's hard to see the impact that we're making out there.
Yeah.
And the community that we're building and the people that just love our brand. And it's the best way I can say it. It's like we're creating our own movie. I'm the director. And, you know, I know the script. I know the ending. I know the music. Like there's no surprises.
Right.
Versus the first time viewer going to the movies and they get to watch it and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
Right. I'll never have that wow feeling. Because I'm in it.
You're in it.
Right. But the messages that we get back, the community, the amount of people carrying the bags, like that is my wow moment. You know, I can't feel it, but I can see it. And what I love even more is the bag isn't referred to as a backpack.
Right.
They call it a WOLFpak.
Yeah.
And that's badass because when your product name is your brand's name, it's like priceless.
That's the best thing that you can have.
And you can't force that on the community. They decide that.
Yep.
You know, it's like, do you wear Nikes or do you wear Jordans?
Right.
You know,
Or do you wear tennis shoes?
or yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
the power of your brand name becoming the product name. And there again, that's runway of integrity and just strength that this brand will carry and have that other brands will not.
Right. I think a lot of, you know, in the athletics world and in the recreational world and just in like the travel world, there are a lot of people who, you know, they consider themselves to be just a lone wolf kind of person, right? But at the same time, there is this connection that even people like that feel to wanting to be a part of something bigger than themselves, you know? And that's why there's like communities on, you know, social media and, you know, wherever people go to find that sense of community that also feel like they're a lone wolf. And I guess I just think that that's particularly interesting when it comes to this brand, because even from the foundation of how you created it, wanting to be part of like this like lone wolf pack, right, with your family and just by yourself, because you did a lot of things just by yourself. But then being able to bring people together who also operate that way, you know, I mean, it has to hit you sometimes. I know you're so go, go, go. You're always 10 million miles speeding down the freeway. But tell me about a moment where you were just sitting there and it really did hit you, because it has to have.
I get those moments often, but like where it just like hit that we're doing something.
Yeah.
You know, we came out of the garage.
Yeah.
You know, and we're working the family business in the garage during COVID. And, you know, I remember a great story. Like, we're going to debut our brand at the Olympia Expo in Vegas 2020. Can't wait, right?
Right.
Then we get the phone call, it's going to Florida.
Because remind everyone.
Because we're going through COVID and the audience is reduced in Vegas and Florida's wide open. Like, bring all the people you want. So we're like, fuck, like, what do we do? Yeah. So we have these bags. We're going to debut the brand. So it was like, okay, me and Emma, let's just go to the Olympia. Let's just take a couple boxes of bags with us. Let's pass them out. I come from automotive business, 26 years. I have a partnership into these shops. And, you know, I'm working still in automotive business. I worked a whole year on my day job
while you were
I'm doing this side hustle in the beginning that's turned into a mega brand today. And that would be another key of, you know, like, how'd you make this successful? Well, don't quit your fucking day job.
Right.
Okay. So we're working out of the garage. Me and Emma go to the Olympia, take a couple bags. This is back when everyone converted over to social media. That's how we communicate. You know, I can't go to gyms. They're locked down. So we're like, listen, this is, and it's even today, it's never been about the money.
Right.
This brand, you know, if it was about the money, I'd stay in an automotive business because I was making money I could not spend in a month's time. This was about building something with purpose that I had passion for, and I wanted something to make my mark. So we go to the Olympia. I said, we're going to hand these bags out for free. We're going to find Olympians on social and just get the word out. So me and Emma we're at the expo, we're meeting people, we're passing out bags. We go to a gym, we're passing out bags. We go to, you know, back to the host hotel and we're just popping all over the place. And word gets out like, hey, these two people are like giving out free bags.
That's brilliant.
And people start hitting us up.
Really fast. Did you think of this yourself, or was there another brand that was doing this that gave you the idea?
Right. And I think that's with everything, right? Is like you learn about something that someone else did and you do it better.
Got it.
And, you know, with, and that that is with anything. It's just like the iPhone, right? Like if someone didn't take the original telephone and do something with it,
Right.
and then someone else picked up where that person left
Right.
off, and then we wouldn't be where we're at
You
today.
did it, but you did it better.
Did it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and some high level athletes reached out to us directly.
Nice.
Hunter Labrada, one of the athletes, Reagan Grimes, another athlete,
Yeah.
hit us up and, to get a bag. So, we're passing these out. My only ask was, hey, like if you love the bag, can you post for us?
Yeah.
And just get a word out. And if you don't like it, you got a free backpack. Like,
Right.
how can you lose?
Right.
And then someone hit us up to meet us at the gym, and we're at the gym out in the parking lot, and I got the trunk open because that's where the backpacks are.
You're doing a deal.
And it looks like a fucking drug deal. So the guy's out there, and he's like, how much for the bag? And in my head, I'm like, this motherfucker wants to buy it. Like I'm like a kid in a candy store, and I'm like, $100. That's the first thing I just said. And he pulled
You
out.
hadn't thought of the price before he asked you?
I wasn't planning on selling the bags.
So on the spot, you thought of the price.
Said, yeah, $100. So he gives me $100. I give him the bag, and
And you're just like, yes.
It's like, hey, this is like, we got momentum.
Yeah, yeah.
We got someone that bought a bag.
That first sale is like the proof of concept.
Right. But let me back up a little bit. When we first turned on the website, this was the day. This was the day the website's going to get turned on.
Right.
And
sales
orders are going to flood.
Right.
And, so we kicked it on. Uh-huh. I'm getting ready for work. Nothing's happening. Going to work. Call my wife and like, hey, how's everything? No orders. Like, and no one's on the site. Like it tells you how many people are on the site too, right? So I'm just revisiting where I came from, which like I have the thought process. You open up a website, the orders just come in, right? No, we didn't get our first order for like 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And it was for a patch, and it was the lone wolf patch.
A patch.
The lone wolf patch.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy enough. So
that is crazy.
I remember someone in Covina, California, bought it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So in contrast, how many people visit your website now a day?
We could be 15,000 to 22,000 in a day.
That's quite a difference.
Right.
So over the course of 4 years, you went from 5 weeks before getting a sale,
right,
no visitors, and now you are at 15,000 to 20,000 visitors a day.
Easy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And, so there were a lot of like down moments.
Yeah.
And a lot of uplifting moments.
Yeah.
To really like, it's a very emotional roller coaster.
That is an emotional roller coaster.
This is by far the hardest thing I've ever done.
Wow. Yeah.
This is harder than cancer treatment. This is harder than running, $20 million business and automotive business. This is not cut for everyone.
Well, what keeps you going?
You know what? Funny you said, because I was just talking to our content manager, Frankie, and 2019 I get cancer.
Yeah.
2020 I'm cured.
Right.
Actually, 2019 I'm cured, but I had testicular cancer. Mm-hmm. I had to have my testicles removed. Mm-hmm. So that's a hurdle you have to come and climb over as a man. The first couple of days it fucked me up in the head, because you think you like lose your manhood and you're no longer a man. Today I just fucking laugh. I'm like, I'm vertical. I don't care. So my body
perspective has changed.
Yes. It makes you realize how much
lucky
we should be blessed.
Right.
And how less we should be fighting. Mm-hmm. And just changes your whole life. But so my body doesn't produce testosterone. Mm-hmm. And I get treatment today. I didn't start getting treatment. I looked it up just last week. I didn't start getting treatment until 2022. All of 2019, no treatment. 2020, 2021, 2022. In those years, I'm building WOLFpak. And you ask where my drive came from. I had a testosterone level of 25, Wendy.
Wow.
25. like normal ranges, 600 to 1,000, right? So I lived off a fucking pre-workout every day.
Right.
I would just take it whenever, like, you know, I have this inner fire to keep going.
There is like a,
but it's just like I just pre-workout, you know. And I made a lot of sacrifices, lived a very unbalanced life. I still do today. But, you know, I was even not taking care of my body while I'm trying to build this brand. And, you know, keep in mind, like, we had to be the packers and then we had to be the business owners at the same time and flip-flopping, you know. And I just started to absorb every minute that was available to me to just invest into this brand. And my mindset was every minute that goes by that I'm not working on this brand is a minute someone can get in front of me.
Wow.
And I just internally flipped it into a internal competition. No one's going to outlap me.
Yeah.
I'm going to run so many laps, you're not going to catch me.
Right.
And it got to the point I even stopped working out. You know, I stopped eating. I just was
You were so focused on your brand that you weren't taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Anything like vacation's gone.
Right.
We live at the beach. Haven't seen the beach even today in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
We sacrificed going out as a family, sacrificed dinners, sacrificed just taking our son at the time to do things that, you know, son should be doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't see that, you know, they see the success,
right,
but they don't see all the sacrifices that you have to give up, you know.
There's two things I want to ask you about, but first I want to ask you, I really believe in this, so I wanted to know if you do. But I believe that there are people who really truly are like chosen ones, you know, like there's a greater power. There's like something greater than you that's driving you to know that there's something special in you that can create something that nobody else can create, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and it's almost a responsibility, right? You feel like if you don't do it, like no one else is going to do it. Is that something that you believe in? Do you feel like maybe with you creating this brand and sacrificing so much of yourself, taking so much of what other things that you could be doing, do you believe in that?
You know, you say chosen one, I say purpose. You know, I think
yeah.
everyone has a purpose in life, whether you find it, whether you unlock it, whether you take it and run with it. You know, I didn't find my purpose until 45, you know, and it came from a disruption.
Yeah.
You know, and I say this now often, like a disruption is the best thing possible. It changes things. It wakes things up. It just recalibrates, you know, this person.
Yeah.
And I needed that disruption to change me. And if I didn't get my disruption, we wouldn't have WOLFpak today. And I now use my platform to share, you know, other people's stories, other people's disruptions. And I tell you this too. I didn't share my story.
I was going to ask you that.
About what happened to me, even why I'm getting WOLFpak off the ground. I told, you know, internal people, but I didn't go public. I didn't want my cancer story to be the woe is me. Let me support that brand.
Right.
You know, I wanted the hard work, the grit, the grind, the long hours of all the family members, to be the success of the story. And I wanted to put it out there, but not for the purpose of, you know, getting awareness to the brand, but to get awareness to someone that needed some uplifting. Because I remember the first day I got the news.
Yeah.
Everyone went to bed.
Yeah.
And I go to open up my laptop and I'm searching other people's journeys that I'm about to, you know, go through myself.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to find an outcome.
Yeah.
Did they make it? What was their journey like?
Yeah.
You know, you're just trying to gather information.
Yeah.
So I share my story today for that purpose, you know, in hopes that someone sees my story, uplifts them for a moment, you know, someone I may never see, touch, or talk to.
Yeah.
And, you know, it changes their trajectory, changes their mindset, you know, and just, you know, puts them in a better place.
Right. That's different than I mean, that's a different approach than a lot of people would take. If you think about it, you had a story of triumph after struggle, and it would have been probably really, it probably would have accelerated things if you think about it, if you would have injected that into your storyline early on, but you didn't.
Right.
Your brand blew up before you ever told your story. How did that feel? Did it give you a sense of pride knowing that your brand blew up before you told your story?
I think I'm just humbled, if anything.
Yeah.
And, it's some of the other successes. We're going through COVID where other brands are hitting the brake pedal. Like my race car doesn't have a fucking brake pedal.
Yeah.
I have a gas pedal.
Yeah.
And, we're going to these expos and like we're getting title location spots because we're the only brands are showing up.
You're taking advantage of an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is there's always going to be opportunity. Be ready to take it.
Yep.
And you don't know when it's coming, but, and we're still working in the garage during these days. And I told the family, I was like, listen, this is on the couch that night. I was like, when you start a brand, here's the only thing we got to worry about. It's just whatever the customer sees.
Right.
They see our product.
Right.
They see our website.
Right.
And if we go to an expo, we better have a fucking like big booth.
Right.
And eventually I added an extension of having athletes, because I always say like this face can't sell backpacks, but like our athletes can. So, and we're working in the garage for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. And
but nobody sees that.
They see this big booth at these expos. And I knew that had to happen. I remember I spent $80,000 on our booth for the first, I think Arnold and the Olympia was what we used it at.
Wow.
But I knew I needed that presence.
Yeah.
I needed the bark to be louder than the bite.
Yeah.
And, people would probably think we're a corporation of hundreds.
I did.
And it was literally, 3 people. It was me, my wife, and my daughter. My youngest was still in school. And then, it was just us 3 hustling. Wow. And then about year 2, second year in, I got my sister from Georgia to come over and join the team.
Right.
So she was like a relief because, we were struggling just to keep up on the orders. It was crazy.
You brought your sister in. We're going to backtrack a little bit. Yeah. Tell me about your sister because I know she holds a significant role in your life too.
Yeah. So my sister, which is like my daughter.
Yeah.
So, I had to grow up at a, young age. Mm-hmm. Talked about the military, creating structure right after the military. I met my wife at a young age. I think she was just 17, getting close to 18. And, I'm 19. And I tell her about my sister that I have. Mm-hmm. And she's 4 at the time.
Okay.
Probably, let me back up. At the time, at that moment, she was just a baby.
Oh, my gosh. So you're 19, your wife is 17, and you have this baby that, okay, go ahead.
And she's with her mom.
Okay.
And I said that we share the same mom. So I told my wife, I was like, I know what this path looks like. It's not good. Mm-hmm. So we go to see her and, she's in a bad environment, just like I was going through. Didn't look good.
Yeah.
So we made our way to, an agency to help us get to the courts and get custody of my sister. Wow. So we eventually got custody of her. I think I was 21 at the time. My wife was going through college at the time, and she was 19. Okay. And overnight, we had to learn how to raise a 5-year-old. Wow. And she's in our life, from that day forward.
Oh, that's so awesome. So why was she in Georgia while you were out here?
So, we moved to California. We still had a house in North Carolina. We had a house in Georgia. Okay. And, she was like watching over our Georgia house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then she decided to kind of, stay camping there for a while and just live in Georgia. And then it took me about, 3 offers to get her to say yes. but she finally said yes.
Right.
And, it changed her life too,
Yeah.
so she's here, she's family, she gets it. I ask her, like, it's always a struggle. Are you my sister or are you my daughter? Like,
Right.
where are we at today? It's
Yeah.
just like, but no, she's been
She's your employee.
right. But she's been a blessing. I'm so happy we got her out of that environment that I had to go through and, take care of her.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
You're able to change her life and change a course of direction from what you had to go through.
Yeah, because not everyone could decide to say, this is not going to be my environment,
Yeah.
And she could have fallen the other way.
Yeah. So you have your whole family's attached to the brand. Now it's a family affair. You're bringing in additional people into your brand. You're growing exponentially. We talk about the numbers every Monday in our meeting. I know it just continues to grow. So looking back on everything that you've done up to this point, and looking forward, what mark have you left, and what mark do you want to continue to leave?
The mark I want to leave is just this brand, where it continues long after me. My daughters have it. They continue to drive it, and it becomes in the family business in a sense, in all the generations. That's my mark I want to leave. I also want to drive the message to others, and that's our brand. Like, we have great gear, we have cool backpacks, we have a badass name, but what's our purpose? What's our mission?
Yeah.
And the mission is to share the message to everyone else. Like, hey, you got this one life, the one ticket, right? What are you doing with your ticket?
Right.
You're only here, for a moment. That moment, we want it to be as long as forever. But what is your mark? What are you leaving behind? And that's our message of our brand to our community.
Yeah.
Is, take this. And I learned, as, my first story of my hardship and my disruption creates another chapter in my book, which is anything is possible. To start a brand during COVID, when other people were shutting down, and I decided to, start one up, and still going strong today in year 4 and very successful. And it wasn't anything other than hard, consistent work.
Right.
That is the secret. You got to get up every day. You got to clock in, and you got to put in the work.
Right.
And guess what? You got to do it again the next day. And guess what? You got to do it again the next day. And I don't have a weekend. I have a next day.
Right.
And this too, is I'm here Saturday, I'm here Sunday. It's just my next day.
Yeah.
And even today, that's my schedule. I'm 7 days a week. That's what it takes. I use the term all the time because people ask, like, well, what's it? How do you start a brand? How do you win? Or are you interested? Or are you committed?
Yeah.
And they'll say committed.
If you were,
and I say wrong answer. I say, you got to be fucking obsessed.
I like that.
That's how you win. And that's the mindset you got to have with anything, is you just got to be obsessed. And obsessed is you have to be unhealthy. You have to be unbalanced. You got to, and I'm blessed to have a core group of family members that just get me, and they get to be a part of my day. So we still share time together, because if I was alone in this, I would probably be alone in this, so I'm blessed that they're here every day, and they get to see this happening, and they get to be a part of it every day. But you got to be obsessed.
Can you imagine going back and starting it all over again?
It's one of those things where you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And looking back now, if I knew everything that I had to go through, it could be the detractor, because
you're being honest.
Yes. It's like, I can't count how many days I leave with a migraine, how many days I leave with sleepless nights, just the exhaustion,
Yeah.
you want to give up,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, many times,
Yeah.
but it's the two voices in your head, you know, the one says give up, the other one says don't fucking give up.
You know what really stands out to me about just your message is that you don't really talk about yourself and what you're getting out of it. Your goal really is to create a connection and a tie with people. And you want people to think of your brand and you want them to figure out what mark they're leaving. And that's your mark, is really connecting people and thinking about people.
Yeah, because, you know, life moves fast, you know, and I ran that journey and that path. Like I got very complacent, and I knew that, yeah, my family would remember me, but eventually you're just a, you know, picture and a memory, and that slowly dissolves, right? But when you can leave behind a brand, and that's my mark.
Yeah.
But now the message is, what's your mark?
Yeah.
You know, what's your mark? And to kind of wake people up, you
Yeah.
know. But those that want something bigger, those that want something more, those are watching this video and trying to figure out, like, how do you do it? Well, I didn't have all the answers myself. I didn't know what to do. But you just got to start taking action. You just got to start putting yourself toward that direction in a sense.
And you have, you've done it by creating tactical bags that carry people's story with them everywhere. So there's a lot of layers to that, right?
Yeah, it's funny. So, you know, we're known for the tactical bags. We're known for the patches. The patches, driven from a thought from my daughters. They would get a brand new Hydro Flask, order stickers off Amazon, put the stickers on the flask. Like, baby girl, why are you putting stickers all over this brand new flask?
Yeah.
It would drive me nuts. Like, you do it when it's like scratched
To
up.
personalize it.
Right.
Right.
They want to express their personality. They want to tell people who they are. I'm like, no way. This is what we're doing with the backpacks.
Yeah.
We're going to, you know, put the patches on the bags.
Yeah.
And that was another like little momentum booster. We knew our audience. It was the fitness audience. We knew people, you know, very competitive, wanted to compete, all these different divisions. It's like, I'm going to make these division patches.
Yeah.
People can rep what division they're in.
Right.
People can rep when they're a pro. And they can walk around feeling badass, showing who they are. And it was a game changer to us.
Yeah.
You know, and it really put us again on the map with, you know, the personalization of the patches. And everyone wants, I mean, we get it today. We get so many requests every day. Can you make this patch? This is my field. This is my, you know, what I do every day.
Yeah.
And that's how important it is to people, that they just want to express
Yeah.
what they're doing in life or who they are, or, you know, something that motivates them.
Yeah.
And then they can peek at it and just get a little boost of what they're doing. And that's the thing. It's like the bag holds your gear, but it, you know, it tells your story too.
Right.
You know.
These are the two most popular, these are your slogans: never average, always a wolf, and trust your instincts.
Right.
What is your favorite slogan that you've created?
The never average is really
Okay.
close to me. Just always trying to, you know, do something outside the bar in a sense.
Okay, so I want you to say that, but I want you to say it with the most intensity that you could possibly say it.
The never average. So before I do that, the trust your instincts
Yeah.
has a backstory.
Okay.
My daughter that made the logo came
Okay.
up with that one
Okay.
because it's like instincts, kind of wolf
Right.
related, right? And that's the other thing too. And again, all these things start to line up.
Right.
You know what everything means, and it's like, you know, I was in the automotive business. I was making dumb money, and like I just had this gut instinct to just take the jump, take the leap of faith, trust my instincts, as we say, and go from, you know, not making money to starting this brand.
Yeah.
You know, and it's and again, you get these inner voices that talk to you. they're typically right,
Yeah.
and you want to listen to them. But no, this is by far the favorite, never average, always a wolf, is us. I always tell everyone, we're not fucking average. Be a fucking wolf and let's do this. Come on.
Yeah.
Just let's be out there. Let's do something cool. Love our bags that started out with the backpack. Now we got a collection of, probably 10 different looks of things that carry your product. And honestly, I just want to be the brand that holds your gear. That could be a purse. That could be a man's wallet. That could be luggage. The runway is endless.
Right.
And at the end of the day, everyone needs a bag, right? Everyone has a bag of some sort. So, we're not stopping. We're just getting, started with what we're knocking out.